Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another show, for another episode of our Tactical Breakdown series show in which we look at the players that have been linked to the Gunners and who could be making a summer move to the Arsenal. And today is no different as we look at Demiral from Juventus, the young 22-year-old centre-back, Turkish international, and it's going to be really intriguing to see what happens. This guy was linked with a move away in January to Leicester, and there have been rumours circulating across the football sphere that Arsenal have made a slight move and have registered their interest in the young centre-back. So it'd be interesting to see what you guys think, and of course the thoughts of our expert guests, which we'll come on to in just a second. But make sure, if you haven't already, that you are subscribed to the channel and you're liking the video, and of course clicking that bell to let me know that you want to receive this show as soon as it drops live, and it will drop live into your phone or device or whatever you own if you click that notification button, so please do. So let's jump straight to things and chat to our guest, Rich Hall. Rich helped us out yesterday with our video on Domenico Berardi, which you can still of course go and check out, writer for Football Italia, and of course a contributor to the fantastic Modern Footballer magazine, which you can go and get your hands on with the link in the description. If you want to learn some more information, go watch yesterday's video. I talked all about it. I've got an article in here, so has Rich, so has Drew, so please do go and check that out. But let's jump straight to things and get Rich's thoughts on Demiral.
Demiral, the centre-back of Juventus, or from Juventus should we say, is another interesting character. Again, another player that if Arsenal were linked to him and were to go for him would have a lot of plus points, but carries a bit of risk as well. So what about him? I mean, the interesting thing about Demiral, he's been linked to the likes of Leicester before, 45, 50 million. Same with Arsenal, really big figures. But he's not played that many games. He's played a handful of games for Juventus since he signed very recently. And before that, he played quite a few games, but not a massive amount for Sassuolo. And now the interesting thing here, he's a player who's come over from Turkey. He's a centre-back. Let's talk about him for a little bit and his abilities first. A great centre-back in the sense of very intelligent, very, very aggressive, but in the right way. He likes to model himself on Paolo Montero, the very aggressive centre-back, but also, he likes the big, strong centre-backs like Chiellini and Vidic as well, which he's talked about quite openly in the papers and interviews, that's the sort of player he wants to be. I think he's better on the ball, actually, than Vidic, certainly, because he's very athletic. He can also play in a back four, part of a back three, or even as a right fullback. And he can pop up with a few goals. For his age, his temperament is very mature in some respects. The way he reads a game is second to none. And for me, he's got the characteristics both of an old centre-back you would have seen years ago, like the type of Montero, where they do the traditional things right, but also he can have that modern adaptation to the game where he just reads a play very well and likes the ball at his feet, which, as we know now, a lot of coaches really, really want. And of course, especially with someone like Maurizio Sarri in charge of Juventus, he was really looking like he was going to do well this season. The downsides: cruciate ligament is gone. He's out for this season. He's out of Euro 2020. No official date on when he's back. So of course there's a risk of how we will recover from that. Whether that puts the price down and Arsenal to take a risk, I think that would be crazy. But I do think that the problem will be when he gets back and starts to play again. This is a guy who carries a big price tag for the reasons I've said. But the thing is, there's a reason for that, because he is looking so good and that potential is there. People are willing to pay, so his price will go back up to that point if he comes back from injury and starts playing at the same level. He's a bit of a fiery character, caught up in a bit of controversy where he did the military salute when playing for Turkey against, I think it was Albania, was sort of chastised for that. But that's not just him. We know many players from the Balkan regions who have done certain things like that in previous seasons. He's one of these players as well who I think that if Arsenal were to try and still rebuild that defence, if you'd have asked me in the summer or even before he got injured, if he'd have been playing now in the same level, he would have commanded 50 plus million. And I think that the way he was playing, if he'd have carried on that trajectory, he would have been worth every penny, because I think when we talk about centre-backs now, it's not often we get someone who can play both parts of the game, as I said before, the sort of old school role, which is still really needed, because we've always lament the lack of central defenders with intelligence these days, but also as well, we can look at someone who with the ball at his feet is very good as well. So would Arsenal take a risk on him? Personally, I'd wait till he comes back from injury because a cruciate ligament is also always a problem. And one last thing to put on this is that Juventus themselves are rebuilding their defence. Obviously, the likes of Bonucci, Chiellini, it's the old guard leaving. They've got Matis de Ligt in, of course, but obviously I think that Demiral and de Ligt were sort of seen as a long-term future for Juventus, so they'll certainly have to pay some money to prize them.
A massive thank you to Rich for providing us with that information on the Turkish centre-back. As I say, you can go check out his Twitter with the link in the description, or his Twitter handle, which you saw on your screen. And of course, please do go check out the Modern Footballer magazine. Really fantastic content. Loads of content in there for you guys to check out, including pieces by me, Drew, and Rich as well. So, jumping straight into the statistical side of the video, let's have a look at the heat map, which you can see on your screen now. So, right-sided centre-back, that is a concern because we know that we need a little bit more experience on the left-hand side. We've got Saliba coming in, who is more or less a right-sided centre-back. Socrates plays on the right, Mustafi plays on the right, Holding plays on the right. David Luiz can play on the left, but is more suited to the right-hand side with his right foot. And it is only Pablo Mari that we see usually playing on the left-hand side. So there is that to consider with this. You should also take into consideration that Demiral hasn't played too much this season. He's only played a handful of games. Hasn't really featured due to obviously the partnership that we've seen at Juventus in their backline with Bonucci and Chiellini, who Chiellini has obviously been injured, but Matthias de Ligt as well, of course, coming in. So there's loads of options for Juventus, and Demiral is still sort of working his way in through appearances in cup competition, so you're not going to see too much intensity. But that is why we look at the averages in terms of stats. Speaking of which, let's look at those defensive statistics. You can see on your screen, 6 duels per game, winning 77.5%, and that is a fantastic amount of duels that he is winning defensively. Really, really solid. You can see why Juventus have got him on their books. Really promising young stats from a young centre-back. Aerial duels, 75.8% of those are being won, 5 being made in each game. That's really solid as well. And he's winning nearly 60% of those loose ball duels as well, 1.82 being made in each game. Really solid statistics there. 66.7% of his slide tackles are won, and he's making those one every other game. Over 4 interceptions, really, really nice. 5.6 losses to 10.13 recoveries, really strong. And he does even recover some of those, 1 in 10 of those, in the opposition half, which is nice to see. 2.87 clearances is good, like to be a bit no nonsense. Nearly makes a foul per game, leading to a couple of yellow cards, but no reds. So disciplinary wise, he isn't too bad. Really, really strong defensive statistics there. Let's move on to those passing stats. 55 passes in each game, 94.8 accuracy. Fantastic statistic there. Really strong and accurate passer. And he likes the long pass too, 2.12 being made in each game with a 42.9% accuracy. I think under Arteta, you would see that, that statistic rise in terms of the frequency that he makes. Maybe the accuracy would decrease. But certainly he's got potential to be an effective long passer with the ball. He doesn't cross the ball too much. He doesn't get too many assists. And that leads to a low XA and second assist rating too. Passes into the final third, 1.21 with a 62.5% success rate. Passes into the box. He doesn't make them very often, but when he does, my God, are they accurate, with 100% success of those passes being made into the box. But as I say, very, very low, the amount of those that he has done. Passes received, 42 in each game, is really, really good. Shows that he's being trusted at the back, even with his young age, to be the man to take the ball, pass it forwards and keep the ball moving from the back line. Forward passes to backward passes is a very strong statistic. Very, very strong in terms, I mean, it's very, very positive, but you would expect that for a centre-back. But it's the 90.5% passing accuracy moving forwards where I'm really impressed by that stat. Attacking wise, it's always a bit of a red herring, this one, looking at attacking stats of a centre-back, but he scored 1 goal, 1 assist in the very short amount of time that he's been on the pitch. And from a situation where he's made 2 shots, which you can see on that graphic there, to get a goal is very, very strong. I like that a lot. XG, very low. He's a centre-back. Shot assist, very low. Crosses, we talked about. Dribbles, he's not a type that dribbles out from the back. He's not like Saliba in that sense, so there's a difference there. But dribbles is then going to be low. So offensive duels, 1.36, 66.7% accuracy. Like that, very good for a centre-back. But the touches in the box, offsides, progressive runs and fouls suffered aren't going to be too high, and they aren't. So there you go. I think Demiral is an exceptionally talented young centre-back that Juventus will be wanting desperately to keep hold of for obvious reasons. If Arsenal can somehow get this guy in the summer, it would be an absolute coup and a steal for me. But let me know what you think in the chat box below in the comments section. I'll be really intrigued to know what you guys think about us possibly signing another young centre-back, or is it the likes of Upamecano and Gabriel from Lille that you would really be more hoping that Arsenal would go for? I'm really interested by this one. Arsenal are increasingly getting linked to quite a few players at the moment, and don't worry, we're going to try and cover as many of them as feasibly possible. There's links to players like Jonathan David, which I'm going to look at, or David, I believe he's Canadian, so David, I imagine. Let me know in the comment section, but we're going to check him out tomorrow. We've got some plans to look into some other players. There's some Brazilian guys popping up again like Miguel, so could really be fun and interesting to look at those guys across the week. Can I just say, a bad side of thing is the one game, I rarely miss a game for Raw Reactions, but this weekend, West Ham's game at home, I'm not going to be around for the Raw Reaction show. I'm actually away this weekend, and I'm really sorry about that. There will be a podcast, though, on the Sunday. Graham Brooks, hopefully, going to be jumping on for that one as well with some of the guys to review that West Ham game. So don't worry, there will be a review on the channel. It just won't be straight after the game like it usually is. It's just a one-off. Very, very rare that we miss these shows. It happens to be that I'm away, unfortunately. There's a chance that the game next weekend as well, because I'm in Nottingham, but I'm really going to try and push some content out for you guys if I possibly can. I've really enjoyed this one. I hope you have too. Please drop a like on the video if you can, and hit that subscribe button to get exclusive, or not exclusive, but if you want to be exclusive, you can join our members and get some exclusive content. We've got some of that coming out this month too. But if you want to get hold of our content that we put out nearly every single day, make sure you hit that notification bell and subscription button, and you can get access to all of those. We'll see you again very, very soon, and as always, up the Arsenal.